Okay, so I wanted to break down perception and super perception changes in Sparking Zero, because as you may see in the thumbnail, I feel like I've noticed something that no one's really talked about or explained quite just yet, and it has a lot of implications for Sparking Zero compared to Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and the way that you can use perception. But first, I just want to go over what they both are, what they do, and our current knowledge of it through Sparking Zero. And I could be wrong in this theory later on, but it's something I just wanted to discuss. So perception works, as most people may know. You will enter a stance, as you can see here with Adult Gohan. He enters a stance, he gets hit by a basic rush attack, he counters. Not much of a follow-up, really. And the other main use is the Sonic Sway, which everyone is always hype about. You time a super perception in the case of Sparking Zero, where as in BT3 you could just do it out of block, and you will get a Sonic Sway. So these are the main two uses that most people know them for. And down here, if you read the super perception, it has a distinct point that says it will consume ki or a skill count. And later on down here, you can see that you can counter super attacks like beam attacks. That's where the new beam deflect comes in. So, and this will cost 2 skill counts. So here is that beam deflect. I'll let Globku explain.
First of all, super perception. This one comes from Raging Blast, but you're essentially able to deflect a super attack for the cost of 2 skill counts.
So yeah, basically exactly what we just read there. So this is a new addition as well, the beam deflect. And there's also another new change that most people have seen and know about, and that is the new revenge counter mechanic. You can actually block with a super perception, but also at the cost of 2 skill counts for yourself. So you can see here, Goku activates a revenge counter. You can see his skill count went from 6 to 2 using the revenge counter. Goku Black enters super perception stance, or just perception stance. He gets hit, and he also loses 2 skill counts. Most people have seen this, but in case you haven't, it's something that you can also do to counter. And actually, now that I'm looking at it again, it looks like it actually used more. It used another 2 skill counts for some reason after this little cutscene. So yeah, I'm actually not sure what that's about, but he gets a combo off of it. So another use case of perception and super perception. So the thing that I feel like I noticed, and especially with all the new gameplay that came out, is in this video from Globku, you start seeing this weird like parry looking attack. So like you're doing a basic combo, he does a step and attack, but his cooler skill count is 2, it goes down to 1, but it looks like he gets a parry. So this is something that was very confusing to me for a little while. I didn't know what was happening. So if we open up Budokai Tenkaichi 3 here, there are things that perception stance like just does not work on in Budokai Tenkaichi 3. So I can have Kid Buu enter perception stance, very obvious perception stance. And so like a thing that Kid Buu cannot counter is like, or perception cannot block, is like a charge smash attack. So if I enter perception and charge, he still gets hit despite being in the perception stance. Another big thing is if I am blocking, like, and I use Kiai Cannon, normally this is an unvanishable move, so if you are getting comboed, it will almost always hit and you cannot vanish it. And it is not something that can be perception stance and get a counter hit on. So I'll show here, I'll charge it into perception stance, he still gets hit by the Kiai Cannon. That's important because perception stance in BT3 does not work on Kiai Cannon and other things. Another example is rolling hammer and heavy finish. So if I'm blocking, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Charging rolling hammer. He still gets hit by the rolling hammer after entering perception stance. So this is where it gets kind of weird, is with this parry-like kind of stance that we're seeing. This is the best example of it, is you have Globku going in for a Dragon Dash, and you can actually see Cooler here enters the perception stance. This is his perception stance with his arm up, and he's going to get hit by a Dragon Dash attack, but the same parry thing happens, and he loses 1 skill count, and he gets a counter hit. And that's where I feel like the wording back here, where it says or skill count, they allude to this, but they never actually explain it in anything. And this has even bigger implications than just on like all these other moves that it normally doesn't work on. Because like here, a step-in attack is normally non-vanishable as well in BT3. But here, you're able to super perception or perception a step-in attack now at the cost of only 1 skill count. So this is arguably better than like using an after image, because it will get you out seemingly of a step-in attack at any point as long as you have 1 skill count to use. So another example here, where I was showing in BT3, where it does not work on like rolling hammer, charged attacks, Kiai Cannon. You have Cell. I don't know if this is his rolling hammer or if it's a charge attack. I think it's a charge attack because these orange particles are like the perfect smash timing. So you can see Goten here. Whoops. Goten here. He enters his stance. So he's guarding perception stance right here, this frame change. And he has 1 skill count. It goes down to 0. You get the same parry-like attack. So you are now able to perception stance a lot more moves that normally you would not be able to, and that are also used to not be vanishable. You can guard against now. And he gets the follow-up. Doesn't really look like it combos very well. It's hard to tell. But the biggest thing is in this clip, you get the Dragon Dash attack going into some basic rush combos. Note how Cell has 2. And he goes in for a Kiai Cannon. 2 skill counts. You are able to perception stance a Kiai Cannon now, and you lose 1 skill count. But this is normally something that you were just guaranteed get hit by in BT3. This is how you would start to build something like a safe combo, where you would just do rush attack, Kiai Cannon or blaster wave, and then another rush string into like a flying kick. Potential rush reset cancels. We'll see if that's in Sparking Zero as well. But this has a lot of implications, I feel like, on Sparking Zero that I haven't seen anyone really dive into or really notice or explain too well. And this is just really, really big for the combo game, the defensive versus offensive game in Sparking Zero, because Budokai Tenkaichi 3 already had a lot of defensive techniques and escape options, and with this, it's even more in Sparking Zero. Obviously, you have to have a skill count, but I feel like the defense is going to be a lot more accessible even in Sparking Zero, and that's not even counting the new super counter, well, the new name for Z counters, super counters, and normal vanish chain Z counters. And like I said earlier, this has some implications for like after image, because like, well, why would I use an after image to get out of a combo or like a stray hit when I could take a little bit of damage and use only 1 skill count to get out? Like, he only takes 2.8k damage, uses 1 skill count to get out of a combo, and then you reset to neutral. In this case, he wins the neutral exchange to some extent, the CPU, but goes back to normal. But anyways, just pretty interesting stuff that I wanted to talk about and break down. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe, it'll help me out. I am going to potentially make some more breakdown videos that I feel like diving a little more in-depth into the actual mechanics side. I'm taking a look at Ultra Instinct, so that's going to be the big one coming up. But yeah, take it easy.